From the so-called Liver King, scamming people using his fake muscles for years.
I've done steroids, and yes, I am on steroids, monitored and managed by a trained hormone clinician.
To a legendary athlete pushing his body to its absolute limit to the point of no return.
I've tried it. I've tried pretty much everything there is out there to try because this is what I do.
Here are fake bodybuilders who got caught on stage. The Liver King scam. For a few years, Brian Johnson, better known as the Liver King, became one of the most recognizable figures in online fitness. His message was simple and powerful. If you live like your ancestors, eat nose-to-tail animal organs, train hard, and follow a disciplined lifestyle, you can build an elite physique naturally.
We got liver and Burmese hassa.
Yeah, Burmese hassa.
Let's do it. Who's getting down on some liver with
Bon
us?
appetit.
Cheers.
Cheers.
How do you say that in Burmese?
Same.
Same. All right, I'll take some more too.
All right, I'll try some of that too.
From the beginning, fitness professionals raised eyebrows. Brian was in his mid-40s, maintaining a physique that combined very high muscle mass, extremely low body fat, and year-round conditioning. This kind of regime is rare even among younger bodybuilders who openly admit to using performance-enhancing drugs.
More! 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 More!
In 2022, Brian's act came crashing down when leaked emails between him and his coach exposed him for spending over $11,000 on steroids every month. And that's when he had to come clean.
I've done steroids, and yes, I am on steroids, monitored and managed by a trained hormone clinician. I've been on several podcasts, and when asked if I've ever taken steroids, I've always said no, I don't touch this stuff, not gonna touch this stuff, never touch the stuff. That was a lie. I fully own that I fucked up. I am as sorry as a man can be. And all I can do is take extreme ownership right now, be better, and lead myself to a better life as a better human. I'm making this video to apologize.
After that, Brian could never fully regain the respect he once held in the public eye, as no one would ever make the mistake of trusting him again. But the next bodybuilder didn't even get the time to apologize for his mistake. Synthol leaks on stage. This is one of the most famous videos of a bodybuilder being caught for injecting synthol into his muscles to make them look bigger during a competition. The contest starts off pretty normally, with these four beasts striking their poses in an attempt to impress the judges. However, if you pay close attention to the athlete on the left, you can see that an oil of sorts starts running down his arms. And if he thought he could fool the judges, he was thoroughly mistaken. Almost immediately, one of the judges shouts out, and in an embarrassing moment, lets the bodybuilder know that he's banned from the competition. And because he knows he's in the wrong, he doesn't even protest it before quietly walking off. The next bodybuilder, however, didn't get caught until it was too late. Ralph Muller. Ralph Muller was one of the most imposing physiques of his era. Standing over 6 feet 6 inches and weighing nearly 300 pounds in his prime, the German bodybuilder and actor dominated national competitions in the 1980s, winning multiple championships before stepping onto the Mr. Olympia stage.
He's one of a handful of hardcore Europeans making a serious challenge to the American-dominated bodybuilding world. At 6 feet 7 inches and 270 pounds, Rolf is a giant many compare to Arnold. In his most recent competitive outings, however, he hasn't achieved that ripped, shredded physique necessary to be a competitive threat.
For years, he credited his success to discipline, training intensity, and rare genetics. And this was largely believable in an era when steroid use was generally quite hush-hush.
It is a good thing when you have a positive charisma. It is also good that I am aware of it and therefore can show that bodybuilders can be intelligent and do other things too, and not just display brutal actions. Physical activity is necessary and good. I try to introduce the muscular system in another manner.
However, things changed in 2007 when the German star openly admitted to using steroids during his competitive career and confessed that he was doping back then. During a school visit in Germany, he explained that performance-enhancing drugs were simply part of elite bodybuilding at the time, and that he had used substances like Primobolan while training for extreme durations under medical supervision.
Hi, I'm Ralf Möller. Nice to meet you. I always had a passion for sports. I was a swimmer, boxer, and bodybuilder, and had only one goal: to make it to the top.
The confession wasn't forced by scandal or leaks, and there was no investigation or consequence to his admission, given that so much time had passed since he had last been on stage. If you thought that was controversial, you're definitely not ready for what's up next. Nimrod King. Nimrod King was a rising star in the bodybuilding world, a Canadian athlete whose sheer muscle mass and competition success made him one to watch in the late 80s. But behind the scenes, King was playing a dangerous game. Determined to maintain his edge, he became involved in a secret steroid smuggling operation, importing large quantities of Primobolan to fuel his performance. And looking back at his past videos, you can easily tell that he was doping.
Sometimes these things had to happen because it's what makes you the person you are today.
Yeah. Did you ever get a phone call or talk to Joe Weider or anyone like that higher up in the sport who actually gave you a pep talk or gave you some advice after that? I mean, what was how was it handled? Because I wasn't really around back then. That was really right before my time. I know Sean Ray told me he was really mad, obviously, because he said that, just the whole situation wasn't handled right, and I think a lot of guys were kind of upset with the whole system, and it seems like they threw it out the window the following year. So,
that didn't make any sense at all. But it happens. It does happen, and you pick up, and then you move on.
The facade crumbled spectacularly in 1990. King was arrested at the U.S. border, caught with 366 vials of Primobolan while attempting to enter the country for a preliminary competition leading to a world championship in Italy. He was arrested alongside a companion, Barbara Stulman, and charged with smuggling and illegal possession of prescription drugs. The scandal effectively ended King's competitive career. While he wasn't stripped of prior titles, the arrest destroyed the credibility he had worked so hard to build. And that is the story of countless bodybuilders who try to take the easy way out. Like this next one: lethal oil injections. This is Romario dos Santos Alves, a bodybuilder from Brazil who has taken extreme measures to develop this superhuman physique.
Romario dos Santos Alves has modelled his huge frame on his favourite superhero, the Incredible Hulk. But his obsession with injecting muscle-enhancing oil into his body has almost cost him his sanity and his life.
Romario was just 25 when he began injecting synthol into his arms to build up his muscles and make them appear this big. But if you pay attention, you can clearly see that his arms don't look dense, the way they're supposed to if they're gained naturally.
Vai ter que amputar seu braço. O seu músculo está todo empedrado, sua estrutura muscular está toda destruída e está dando uma necrose no seu braço. O único jeito que tem é amputar.
Every time he flexes, he gives away the fact that his entire body is fake, beefed up using oil injections that the doctors kept advising him against over and over.
A mixture of oil, alcohol, and lidocaine is injected into the muscles to enlarge them. Soon, Romario was hooked and injecting regularly.
Eventually, he found himself in constant pain, and he had to consult doctors who initially wanted to amputate both of his arms. And that was the wake-up call Romario needed.
Uma ressonância magnética e viu que não precisava amputar o meu braço.
Romario was lucky. He stopped using the muscle enhancer in 2013. But despite it almost ruining his life, he's still tempted to try other substances from time to time.
He then decided to start hitting the gym and build mass the right way, and while he still has temptations to inject synthol now and then, the consequences that it can lead to keep him from giving in to his former addiction. But Romario hasn't been the only bodybuilder in history to resort to these extreme measures. Mr. Fake Muscles. Here's another bodybuilder from India who took to the internet to show off his muscles, but almost immediately, you can tell that none of them are real, and he's been pumped full of synthol. And the thing is that he isn't the only bodybuilder to try and fool himself into thinking that this is the way to appear strong and impressive. This synthol addiction seems to be an epidemic in the bodybuilding world because countless athletes have ruined their entire bodies just to appear bigger than they are, like this man right here. As you watch these clips back to back, a pattern starts to form. Fake muscle just doesn't move like real muscle. Arms lose shape mid-pose. Shoulders look inflated 1 second and flat the next. Sometimes there's visible leaking, sometimes it's just a sudden loss of structure, as you can see in this clip. Up-and-coming athletes are one thing, but what happens when seasoned bodybuilders go down the same route? Rich Piana. Now, let's talk about Rich Piana, who was one of the most recognizable figures in modern bodybuilding. But from the beginning, it was evident that Rich was chasing extremes. Size and aggression practically became his brand. Physically, Rich was known for his enormous arms, thick chest, and overpowering frame. And while many believe that all of this was natural, achieved through pure hard work and athleticism, that wasn't really the case. But what makes Rich stand out is the fact that he chose to embrace his steroid use with a kind of transparency that other bodybuilders never embraced. He was open about his usage of synthol and talked about the negative effects that it had on his body.
The truth of the matter is I've tried it. I've tried pretty much everything there is out there to try because this is what I do,
Yes.
you know? The people that have actually used it are the ones that know. And the people that have never used it are the ones that have no idea what they're talking about.
Yeah.
And people that have used it will know that it's a nightmare, it's painful, and the muscle, it ruins the look of the muscle.
Yes.
Completely ruins it.
So, Rich admitted that for a brief period in his career, he was artificially enhancing his muscles. But he knew that it was easy to tell that he was taking the easy way out.
Fucking huge. I believe altogether
It's about 80,000 square feet, the entire building. Basically, products, shitload of products. And as you can see, we have plenty of room to have more products.
This was around 2009, when his arms were huge, but the definition was completely gone, and he completely stopped striking his front double bicep pose because his muscles had lost their natural contours thanks to synthol use.
Last set, 16th workout. Here we go.
Rich Piana pushed his body to the absolute limit, and in 2017, those years of extremes finally caught up with him when he passed away at the age of just 46. So, what are your thoughts on this? Let us know in the comments below.